Alright, what's up dudes, lady dudes, welcome back to Just Nuts guys. Today we're doing another Let's Talk About video, but this time we're doing dinosaurs. It's an entire type, not really, I guess it's an archetype, but it's not really an archetype, it's just a straight up type, but it's so small that it kind of is just an archetype all to itself. And this video, when I'm doing the Let's Talk video this time, I'm not really trying to focus on all the different types of the decks. Like we have like the Thunder Dragon variant, we have True King, we've had that for a long time. We've seen like the 60 card deck when they were relevant in the 60 card deck. But this time we're just going to try and focus on those, just like, oh, we also saw the Paleo version, really cool. I did try that out. It did pretty well. But I'm just trying to focus on the dinosaur aspect of things, not really other decks, all the other variants of this deck you can run, just the dinosaur version. So keep that in mind as we're going through here. And yeah, let's hop right into it. So your best card in the deck, your very starter card, is Soul Eating Oviraptor. He's your Stratos, pretty much. He's a hard once return though, so obviously he can't be looped like Stratos can, but still his effect is very, very powerful. 1800 attack, dinosaur, dark, level 4, blah, blah, blah. When he's normal summoned or special summon, you can take a dinosaur monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. It's really important because you do have a card like Overtext Coatlas in the archetype, which just has so much value in the graveyard. Also, Miscellaneous Source can be good in the grave, Giant Rex, depending on what you have. So keep that in mind as well. He also has a secondary effect that doesn't really come up unless you're playing the Lost World build, but it can definitely come up. You can target one other level 4 lower dinosaur monster on the field. That's on the field, so if you are playing a mirror match or your opponent steals your monster or whatever, you can use this, destroy that monster, then special summon a dinosaur monster from your graveyard in defense position. That's mostly good with like Baby Ceratosaurus and doing really nice combos with that. But other than that, it doesn't really come up all too often. The main search is that search effect. He's really good for getting your plays started because if you don't know about this deck is a heavy OTK deck. This deck is the kind of deck where you blind second and just plan on killing your opponent on that first turn, if not the turn after. So then we have Miscellaneous Source. This is another really good piece for the deck. It's the only card in the deck that is on the ban list. It's at 1, so you can only play one of it. It's an 1800 beat stick, which is nice, but the main thing you're looking for is during either player's main phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, and then during this main phase, dinosaur monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. So a nice little blanket protection effect. And the other effect says you can banish any number of dinosaur type monsters from your graveyard, including this card, to special summon a dinosaur monster straight from your deck with a level equal to the total number of monsters banished to activate this effect, but destroy it during the end phase. So this isn't the most crazy effect, but you are probably playing like Baby Ceratosaurus, which is only level 2, so you only need to banish this and something else. Destroy it on the end phase, and baby, if you do that, Baby Ceratosaurus will special use something else, or you just get Baby Ceratosaurus off the field somehow else. You also have other level 4 monsters. If you do get 4 monsters in your grave, Miscellaneous Source can work with that. It's also very good with Giant Rex, getting just extra free summons. Just a really, really good card. It's pretty obvious why this card is at 1. In the OCG, actually, Oviraptor is at 1 and not Miscellaneous Source. So I'd rather have Oviraptor personally, but I definitely get why this card is hit as well. Then we go to Giant Rex. This card's a really important kind of combo piece for the deck. He says pretty much whenever he's banished, you can special summon him straight to the field. That's a hard once per turn. When he is summoned, he gets 200 attack for every other banished dinosaur that's currently banished, but he cannot attack directly. So he is 2000, he can help you get over monsters, but he cannot attack directly, so keep that in mind when you're going for OTKs. But other than that, most of the time you just use him to either like beat over something in the battle phase, and then main phase 2, you can make one of your negating XZ's monsters, just because he's a level 4 dino right there. So he's supposed to be like every turn you just get him back, another free 2000 like level 4 beat stick. So really good card. Another card that's possibly played. So these 3 are like staples. You got to play at least like 3 of this, 1 of this because it's at 1, and then 1 or 2 Giant Rex. That's up for debate. But this guy is definitely up to your opinion. You do not have to play this card. As you can see, it's a normal monster, 2000 beat stick, but it can come up. You wouldn't really play this card unless you're playing Lost World, but we'll get to that in a second. He's just literally a normal level 4 2000 beat stick. We'll get back to him there. Tyranno Infinity, another controversial card. He's kind of a brick in the hand. You usually want to like try and special him off of something else, but if you can't, you may not be playing him at all, just because he's just adding to brick, and dinos are one of those decks that have always struggled with bricking a little bit. So he gains 1,000 attack for every banished dinosaur monster, so he also takes a little bit of setup too, trying to get at least 2 minimum banished. And if you can't even do that, then he's not even worth what he's going to be. So it's a mediocre card, but he definitely can come in clutch. Then we get to the drag monsters. These are weird. These are super like niche. I've seen these in like weird niche deck profiles that did relatively well. But you don't have to play these. These are up to you. Jurek Waiba kind of has like a Hydrogeddon effect. I don't know if you remember that from the GX era. He pretty much says when he destroys a monster by battle, you can special summon a Jurek monster with 1700 or less attack straight from the deck, but it cannot attack this turn. So he's just helping you churn out more monsters straight from the deck if you can beat over something. You wouldn't really play him unless you're playing Lost World, again, because Lost World weakens your opponent's monsters. Because 1700 is not that big to get over stuff, but 22 is. He's okay. I probably wouldn't play him. I just saw him in deck profiles, and I thought, like, it's interesting, but it's too specific, like, relying on the battle phase like that. Never good in current Yu-Gi-Oh! Then Jurek Dino and Jurek Monoloth. The main thing here is these are level 3 tuners, and the deck actually has some weird kind of synergy with some Synchro level 7 plays. Like Black Rose is like weirdly kind of good in this deck. Has just like a board wipe option. Yeah, and they also have other little niche effects. Dino says if he destroyed a monster by battle this turn, at the end, during the end phase, you can tribute him to draw 2 cards. Nice little draw there, but it's on the end phase, so you're losing a monster to draw 2 that may not be helpful on your opponent's turn. And then this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. He's only 1500, but with Lost World, he's kind of like 2000, so that can come up. It's just, they're both kind of mostly there to just be level 3 tuners. Then we have Jurek Aolo. This is the most widely played one. This one says you can tribute it to select a level 4 lower Jurek monster in your graveyard and special summon it. That effect doesn't really come up much. The most important part is that he's a level 1 tuner, so you can literally just banish miscellaneous source and not have to worry about setting anything else up in your grave to get out a level 1 tuner. So that's what that's there for. Most people kind of like to play this, but I've seen the best deck profiles not playing any of these just because they are bricks in the hand, and you got to be really careful in a deck like this with bricks in the hand. And then we move to another kind of staple card in like the pure dino builds, which is Baby Sarasaurus. I love this card. This card's really, really good. If it's destroyed by a card effect and sent to grave, special summon a level 4 lower dino straight from deck. That can be an Oviraptor if you haven't used that yet to search again. That can be a Giant Rex. That can be a miscellaneous source. It can just be any level 4 or lower, free. And that's really, really good, especially because some of the dino cards destroy cards in your hand, which is really nice. This is another kind of version of this card, but it's a pseudo version. It's not as good. You can summon a level 4 or higher dino, but it cannot attack this turn. So just a worse version. You're probably just playing 2 baby because 3's too many, 1's not enough, and it's not worth playing petite. So you probably just play 2 baby, no petite, but I wanted to put it in there. Then there's Doggeran. This is your 1 kaiju. It's a dinosaur. It's searchable. You might as well play it at 1. It's like the same reason that Cyber Dragons play. Jizukiru, their machine, light, searchable kaiju. It's the same reason. You just play this because it's searchable, and you do have a boss monster that can get over it really easily. So you're not really worried about giving your opponent that 3000 beat stick. And then for like the biggest buff that dinos have gotten as of recent is Dino Wrestler Pankratops, because this has been a widely used side deck card, but not really any main decks. I mean, we've seen a few main deck like Pankratops here and there, but the main thing has been for dinos because dinos already blind going second, and this card is most useful going second, really only useful going second. It just says if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can drop him out of the hand for free, and then once per turn, quick effect, You can tribute a dino wrestler you control to destroy one card your opponent controls. Target and destroy. So it is targeted destruction, but it is a quick effect. And he is a dino wrestler himself, so he can just tribute himself to pop something. And even if you don't need to use that effect, he is a 2600 beat stick. He's also level 7 to churn out rank 7s. You get the picture. Just a really nice card for a deck that wants to go second already, and this deck just helps. This card just helps you if there's maybe a problematic card, maybe there's a face down card you're worried about. You can just lead with this. That way your Oviraptor is untouchable by the face down card, and kind of just go from there. So really nice card for the archetype in general. Then we have Overtext Squadless. In the pure build, you're probably only playing one of this, 2 maybe, but again, it's another brick card, so you got to be careful with those. He says it cannot be normal summoned or set. He must be special summoned from the hand by shuffling 5 banished dinos back into the main deck. And then once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap, you can destroy a dinosaur monster in your hand or on your field. And if you do, negate that activation and destroy that card. But the main purpose of this card is this. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add 1 evolution pill spell from your deck to your hand. That's the main purpose. That's why Oviraptor's effect says you can add or send a dino to hand or grave, which is really important because if you send something, you're usually sending this to get your pill. Pill is such an amazing card. You can summon it that with its regular summoning condition, but it just doesn't come up that much. Like setting that up is like too much. It's too hard to do. Then Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, the win all card of the deck. If you set this card up, you're probably just going to win. It's usually how it goes. Your whole goal is to just summon this going second and wipe your opponent's board and their life points in one fell swoop. He can attack everything. He can flip everything face down by destroying a monster. So you can destroy a baby Ceratosaurus to get another monster and put extra damage on the board. And it's just so good. If he attacks a defense vision monster, your opponent loses 1,000 damage. Anyway, it's such a good card. This is the reason the deck can play. Lost World is the field spell for the deck. I brought it up a couple times. All of your opponent's monsters, or well, not all non-dinosaur monsters lose 500 attack. So it's not all your opponents, it's just all non-dinos. Then once per turn, if a dino is normal or special summon, you can special summon a Jurassic Egg token, which is a level 1/0/0 dinosaur to your opponent's side of the field in defense mode. And while they control a token, they cannot target monsters on the field with card effects except for those tokens. Also, once per turn, if a normal monster on the field would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy that many dinosaur monsters in your hand or deck instead. You use this effect with Oviraptor, where if Oviraptor would, you can use the effect to pop the token with his secondary effect that I said doesn't come up as often, except for with Lost World. You protect Lost World, you pop a baby from deck, and you can special another dinosaur out. Get your second, you just get a free monster back out and a monster from grave at the same time. So really nice little combo there. Weakens all your opponent's stuff generally, and yeah, they can't use effects and stuff. So really just nice niche card to have. It's really good against certain decks, not as good against others, but for the most part I think it's one of the better cards. Fossil Dig, a really important consistency card. Add a level 6 or lower dino from deck to hand. Really better than Rhoda. Literally better than Rhoda. That's all I can say. And then double evolution pill here. This card's really good. Banish 1 dino monster and 1 non-dino from your hand or graveyard. Then special summon a level 7 or higher dino monster straight from hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. It's a hard once per turn. So even though Quadless and Conductors say they can only be special summoned by their effects, this card bypasses that and can just pull them straight out of the deck. That's why this card is so strong, because they are so strong. And this card is just free Conductor. Boop. Pop Conductor on the field. So good. So incredibly good. I'd probably play 2 of this in a pure build. Koalas can search it, but hard drawing it's not that bad anyway if you can just set it up via raw ways. Then some other kind of staple cards is Foolish Burial. This can send Coatless to get your ad. This can send Miscellaneous Swords to get a special. This can send Giant Rex to set up him if you have a Conductor and you're trying to start banishing to special Conductor. Just really good. And then Gold Sark, another card that works particularly well with Giant Rex. You banish Giant Rex, he immediately summons himself. It's just a turbo out Giant Rex as fast as you can to start setting up your OTKs. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Kaijus are very good. I brought up Dogran earlier, but there are multiple deck profiles that play other Kaijus with Dogran. So you may play like Dogran, Gamma Seal Kumungus, that's like the popular lineup there, those three with Kaiju Slumber. And it's just really good. This card dark holes the whole board and then summons a Kaiju to each side of the field. So you give your opponent a weaker one, you give yourself a Doggeran, and then you can just beat over it. Let's see, and then it can also add the third Kaiju from deck to hand as well. So you do get a little extra value out of that. Just a really good card. It especially has like good synergy with dinos, popping your baby Ceratosaurus. Sometimes that's a combo, just to get extra value out of it. Really nice. And the only really relevant trap card is like Survival's End. It's not even that good. I just played this card with like when I played the Paleo variant, and it was actually decent. Just says destroy as many normal monsters on the field as possible, and if you do, special summon level 4 lower dinos straight from the deck up to the number destroyed, but destroy them during the end phase. Also, you can banish this card from the graveyard to target a dino monster you control and one card your opponent controls and destroy them. So just a little extra value. This may be a side deck card depending on your matchup. If you are playing a deck that plays with normal monsters, with tokens, with whatever, maybe you side this in. Otherwise, it does kind of do a little bit of comboing with Lost World, but not too much that it's crazy. Just a pretty solid card. And then for the extra cards, the only like staples for sure you got to play are like Dolka. This card can negate 2 monster effect activations 2 times per turn. Really good, just takes any 2 level 4 dinos, and it's pretty big as well. Lagia, kind of the opposite, negates a spell or trap, but it's only once per turn, and it also takes 2 level 4 dinos. 2400 beat stick as well. And then Underclock Taker, we all know, well, I don't know if we all know, but the main thing is set up this, pointing at a conductor, and that's an OTK if your opponent only has 1 monster on the field. So there you go, guys. That's all the cards I have pretty much for dinos that are super relevant. We've seen this deck kind of fall back a lot because when we saw it first come out, this deck immediately jumped on and was immediately topping regionals, YCSs, just the structure deck like itself could top tournaments, which was crazy. And now it's like, it's not bad, it's just, it's fallen out of favor because we have these decks like Goki, Dark Warrior, you know, danger decks that can set up such strong turn 1 boards that like this deck can't really play through that with like, especially with like a Tri-Gate Negate or through a Gumblar. Like the only reason Cyber Dragons are the only like going second deck that can play right now and actually like top YCSs is because it doesn't care about those boards. Like you literally, as long as you have a Cyber Dragon in hand, you don't care. You can play through it pretty easily and remove their board and build yours at the same time. But this deck doesn't do that, and that's the big problem. If you're blind going second, but if you blind going second against most of these meta decks, they're either going to set 4 cards and like just not let you get any of your stuff off, you know, via Widow Anchors, via Altergeist stun cards, you know, all whatever it is, you're just not going to be able to play through it, and that's the biggest problem with dinosaurs currently. We definitely could see this card come back into favor, maybe if the meta really gets hit with the next ban list, but for now it's probably a tier 3 deck and nothing more. Still very good though. It can still definitely catch people off guard if they're not ready for it. So if you're looking for something fun and something powerful that it can just run over your opponent in 1 turn, this is definitely a deck to look at. But overall, I think it'll be a minute before these cards jump back up into relevancy. But I'm going to leave her off there, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to see more from me, subscribe to the channel. I'm definitely trying to bump up, get a little bigger, try to see what I can do on this YouTube thing. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Peace out and enjoy your Wednesday.